Me. There we go.
Meeting to order at 7:03. No.
You need to exit executive session.
Executive session. Okay, motion for that? All in favor?
Was there any decisions to make? Okay.
Now let's call to order. First order of business, is the executive session. Second one was approve the minutes of the July 22nd meeting. Have a chance to read those? All in favor? All in favor?
Do you, okay, you don't want to read the changes? This is the one you signed, because that one says draft.
So. Reading all the changes you made. Sign that one. All the changes. Okay. August 11th. And the other one, I think was not happen again. Oh, yes, we'll ask for forgiveness. The next approval warrant, 28. And warrant 28, warrant 2, payroll warrant July 26, and August 2nd.
There actually is no 28 because we never got Archie's bill. So it's just a warrant number 2 and payroll. Bulky.
Okay.
Well, I have audit next in 2 weeks, so.
Yes. What's it?
Did someone make a motion to approve
So let's
that?
make a motion to approve the warrant for just August 2nd and 26th, not the 28th month. All in favor? Oh, second, sorry. Moving things along. All in favor? Okay. Reports, the artist meeting 10 report. I see that there's a meeting coming up for school board, and we got that in our email. And it's interested in sitting in on the school board meeting. We have the information about the meeting in the email too.
You don't have anybody to do that now?
We have a school board, a person assigned. And right, for the town, yeah.
Anybody?
Yes. And you give us news. Yeah, Richard gives us news too. That'd be great.
Joel Chapel. Stronger.
Yes, ma'am.
You asked if they can hear the audience?
Can the audience hear, because we have a microphone that we can share with our folks in the audience.
We can't hear.
All right. Still want to hear. They can't. Yeah. They can hear. Zoomers.
So anyway, Joel Chapel, I was talking to him, he was doing it. Over. On the. From the right, so we get it, it's gonna try to get money to the us, for the children up there. To be a part.
And you are interested in.
I was already up there a few times talking to him because I'm involved in the schools and daycare up there. So it doesn't, I can go up there. I've been there before.
Would be wonderful, thank you. Is that better? Zoomers?
We can't hear. That microphone isn't working.
Can you hear anything?
See,
It's all mumble jumble. The only one we can hear is Leanne.
I can plug the other one in. It was working earlier.
That one's working.
We're trying to create an hearing experience for everyone, so we appreciate everyone's time and patience as we try new things. Has been working on sheds at Town Farm Road there. When they're able, he's been meeting a CIP about the poles being placed on Darrington Road. We're trying to have them set the poles back away from the road. We'll begin a couple other road jobs soon, including washouts on Darrington. I also know that there's been meetings with the new rep and the old rep for our FEMA claims, so the emergency management. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Then it's a road commissioner report.
Should have a new contract.
And then we have, in our packets, we have road contracts, 23, 24. Here's one from NADCO LLC. And we've used this group before. And they've given us pricing for street gravel, crushed gravel, 3/4 inch, 1.5 inch, crushed stone, and a lot of other things that they provide us in the past with their pricing. How's that? Kids, can you hear that at home? Can anyone hear us on Zoom?
Didn't understand a word you said. It's all mumbled.
How about that, Nick?
That seemed a little better.
From NADCO LLC. We've done it.
No. What about the others on Zoom? Is it just me? I can't hear a word anybody is saying other than Leanne.
Is anybody else on Zoom?
Yes,
Okay,
I am, and it's not any better.
thank you.
Just so you can't understand it.
Nancy, Lenny, and who else is on there? Dan? Jimmy. Jim. Tim.
I can hear that. I can understand you now.
Okay.
That's better.
And we are reviewing the complaint to the Davenport Road complaint that came in. Lots of water damage and due to the massive amounts of rain we've had and
So before we move on to the road complaint, can we finish up with the contract? Are we going to sign this contract, or we just looking at it?
Up to you.
we've worked with this gentleman, this group before. Are
It
we?
is applying same for us projectors. Although they're under relatively new management.
Yeah. I do notice that there is some changes in pricing and some of it has gone down, which is nice,
Yeah.
oddly enough.
So I move we accept this contract as written.
I-
So,
All right, all in favor to accept the contract as written, all opposed.
moving right along.
Where do we sign? Just, oh, there it
Keep
is.
going.
Yep, sorry. So with the continued rain, we received a complaint on the Davenport Road, which our road commissioner is addressing. It looks like deterioration on Davenport Road from the Jasper property, extending down to the beginning of Mountain View Drive Road. It's always been rough in patches, but it's in need of significant repair with all the rain.
Now that we're- Things are all out, the things going on, and everything.
It's not the one with the ledge right underneath it too, so it's just kind of,
Not too much fun, but it comes, it's such a well in there, and then when it comes from, the only thing we can do with that road there is pave the hill. You know,
It was paved in the past.
yeah, but then it turned into reclaim, what reclaim those back.
because it won't hold, yeah.
Wall, It's never gonna hold. I mean, just the way it is, they'll take it easy. I know Randy Gander went up on, Mountain View with this one up there. So,
Okay, is there any, we don't need a motion for that one.
No, it doesn't say, there is a space on the complaint for action taken by official, but we haven't heard from our official on this as far as I know.
No, I talked to Bim probably a couple hours ago and
What do you have to say about it?
he said that he's gonna go look at it and prepare a materials list on how best to,
Okay. And the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of roads in the rough.
yeah,
Labrador Pond Road
Yep.
is
and I,
just bound to fillings out rough.
and reiterate, any funds we receive from FEMA for each road, that funding for each road will go to that road. It does not go to the road budget overall. It goes to repair that road.
Hope so.
I've had a couple of folks ask about that, so, and been reiterated, it goes to the road, the money goes to. All right, constable report, do we have one? Yes, we do, thank you, Steve. You want to come closer to the speaker, that'd be great.
So due to the rain, weather, and some lessons this past month, I only had 5 mornings, 1 ATV, and the only problem I find is I did find some of my paperwork scattered.
This was on the beach?
No, in the parking lot, cars are parked. Like you'd have a sticker on the ATV, right? Just like a car.
Right, yep,
I was gonna talk to the gentleman, but he's on here tonight, but the club guy there.
yep,
But anyway, I did find some of my paperwork scattered on Church Street. The warnings, so I picked them up, but I know if I leave a trash can at the beach, we're gonna be, I'll be getting everybody's trash. So if somebody complains that they're finding paperwork with my name on it, that's why. That's it, pretty quiet.
we did have some rain, didn't we?
I have a question. How often are you down there?
Sometimes twice a day. I think it's more now.
Excellent.
And we're mowing the ball fields, we're not over there 3-4 times. Okay.
All right, the ACO report. Did everyone get that in their email and pick up a packet out? Is it out there?
CEO, you mean?
CEO, what did I say? Yes,
No,
CEO
see, I
report,
didn't see anything from the.
Sorry.
ACO.
different acronym. CEO report, code enforcement. Did everyone in the audience get one? When they came in? Yeah. Just to summarize, year-to-date building permits were issued as 13. Last year we had 18. And year-to-date plumbing permits issued was 4. And last year we had 15. All right, is there any report from the planning board? Not yet. They did have a meeting though, correct?
14.
Oh, the 14th. So they haven't had a meeting yet. Okay. And ordinance has a meeting 2 weeks from now.
So I didn't put on there because I didn't know at the time, waste committee is the 9th. Next Wednesday, should be the 9th,
Okay.
6:30.
Is there anything from the fire warden? I would like to respectfully request either you or me, Leanne, reach out to them,
I have.
and they've not responded with any totals or monthly on who's
Taken
applying.
his oath yet.
Oh,
Hmm.
He hasn't taken his oath yet. Okay.
He
Thank you. Treasurer's report.
Your expense report, we did make just about $5,000 in interest this last month compared to 300
Did
prior months.
everyone hear that at home? We made over 5,000 in interest and this year with the new
Month, July.
for July, and last year we made a little over 300.
So
a
far.
month.
Yeah. And we have an audit coming up, is that what you said?
Yes,
And when is that?
week after next.
Week after next.
I think we do need a fund balance policy as recommended by our auditor. She recommended it last year. I think we do need one to guide you how to spend from the fund balance. But I can look for some samples.
That might be all.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. I make a motion, do we need to make a motion for this? The expense of the treasurer's report?
I never had in the past.
Well, then we don't have to now. All right. Cemetery committee report. Is there anyone here from the cemetery committee?
Ken Violet is here.
Ken, could you come forward and talk near the speaker?
Speak as loudly as I can without being too loud. We had a workshop at Thompson Cemetery yesterday. We straightened up and cleaned many stones. We straightened 5. We went through 21 5-gallon buckets of 3/4 crushed rock to get these 5 stones up to the level they needed to be. The bases were completely underground. And we had to do quite a bit of repair to them. And we have all but those 5 and 2 more in the back that aren't clean. So 90% of the cemetery work in that cemetery is complete. Hope to finish in the next few days. And that cemetery has been cut all the way around. And we can move on to another cemetery. This will be our first complete cemetery.
Oh, good.
So that's all I
Terrific.
have to report this week.
That's good.
Thanks.
Thank you. And nobody's complaining out there in the cemeteries, right? They're
No, we had new members there, we all worked well, everyone had a good time, so
excellent.
it was a good project.
And the residents tend to be quiet.
Yes.
Yeah, and non-tax paying current residents that are there, they were happy.
Nobody grabbed any ankles, so we're all good. Nobody grabbed you.
No.
Whew, okay. All right, calendar reminders, and Leanne just mentioned one. We have a planning board meeting August 14th, ordinance committee meeting August 16th, waste committee meeting is August 9th. And I think that's all we have for calendar reminders. Anyone have a calendar reminder we need to share?
Yeah, I'd like to just remind everybody that Lake Day's annual event will be occurring on the Canton boat launch, 10 a.m. There's going to be some boat canoe races, 10 a.m. over on the Canton beach. And then the actual Lake Day's event will be on the launch area. But it's also, the fire department's going to be putting up their tent. We have a DJ and we have usual arranged raffles and all the other events that go with it, the slip and slide for the kids, etc. We're also hopeful that the food truck this year, it's the barbecue truck that a lot of folks know and are familiar with. I think it's up in the J area currently, but they're going to be part of it as well this year. So just an FYI.
What weekend is that?
That's August 12th, Saturday morning. This coming weekend. August 13th, we have our annual meeting at the
weekend after
Historical
this.
Society.
Yeah, excellent.
So I know a lot of times select members participated and joined. And look forward to seeing all of you this year.
Canoe races, huh? Want to do it, Kathy?
Yeah, you guys should come. You guys should team up. That'll be good. They do the blindfold. One person's blindfold and one person paddles.
How about canoe jousting? I've done that before.
Well, we can get there next year, maybe.
There we go. Also, this coming weekend on Saturday evening is the Hartford Sumner Food Bank fundraiser dinner over in Sumner. And
It's August 5th.
August
At
5th.
5:30.
Thank you. They're still
Excuse me.
accepting,
And we have some wonderful raffle items. Check out the posts.
yeah, Kathy's taking one from my company tonight to bring over. Will you still accept donations if someone's got any? Great,
Yes.
excellent. Still time to donate. All right, unfinished business, 2019-20 tax foreclosures, Blanchard. That's in our packets.
Did you read it?
Oh, yeah, read the whole thing. How much can we share?
Well, all of it, because all of it is public information.
Okay,
And,
so we sent a letter out to Mr. Blanchard, who has the property or had the property on Church Street. That was the one we were negotiating with. He went through bankruptcy on, oh, we don't need, I asked you how much to share.
I don't think it mentions that in this.
So a new letter has gone out. Unfortunately, things did not work out for him. And just talking about the tax foreclosure policy and giving him one last shot.
So according to our ordinance, we have to, the new ordinance, we have to send him one last ditch letter. Which he's already had, what?
Several
2
last
years.
ditch letters,
I mean,
yes.
hasn't he already had his last ditch letters?
No. I remember I just had to send him 2 years foreclosure notices to finalize those 2 liens. According to our administrative ordinance part 2, I have to send him a last ditch letter now for each.
For the new taxes that he
Because
owes.
they weren't done correctly before.
Is how this all began.
So I thought to Kevin Crossman and MMA Legal. Kevin seems to think it's okay to send those letters and then change our ordinance. There's a new law that requires.
Kevin was the Connecticut attorney.
Yes.
And the new state law states that any additional funds that come in after expenses have been met, after the property has been auctioned off, will go back to the former owner.
And they also get, we have to send them a letter, give them 90 days to request a realtor to sell the property or not.
It's, yeah, the alternative sale.
But according to the ordinance, we need an order from the Board of Selectmen to sell the property before I send this last ditch letter, but we can't sell any property.
Right, what I read was this means the town will probably have to amend its ordinance or adopt a new warrant article authorizing sales consistent with the new law before it can sell any tax acquired property. I mean, that's just a little excerpt from this
New state law.
So are we going to wait another year before we send him his last ditch letter?
No.
Do you want to order it to be sold now, even though we don't go through the
No,
process?
I mean, it says here pretty clearly that we should not sell anything
Right.
at this time. The
But-
law does not authorize the sale of tax acquired property, and only establishes the process required to sell tax acquired property when the sale is not to a former owner. But as it says here, this town should not sell any tax acquired property based on the ordinance currently in effect. However, the town cannot sell tax acquired property based on the law alone.
I didn't say to sell it. Do you want to
Send him his
have
letter.
an order that it will be up for sale at some point? That way I can send him his last ditch letter? Or you just want to wait a year and then send him his last ditch letter?
I move we send the letter now, so that we're ready when the ordinance and things are prepared, versus starting the whole process a year from now.
Christine is in the waiting room. Think.
In any case,
Upon order of the select board that a bid process shall be conducted, the former owners shall be notified by certified mail that it has been ordered, and the owner has to pay back all taxes, liens, legal fees, whatnot. So if you just start the order, I can send them a letter. We can't sell it because we have to wait for the state anyway. And they're going,
But we can send the letter.
if you order it.
well, I don't have a problem with sending him the letter.
Me neither.
One of the things that I noted in reading through the packet was that, among other things, the new laws around this, and I don't know how many of you follow the United States Supreme Court, but one of their rulings earlier in the year, or last year, I guess, was that in the case when a municipality sells a property and they make a lot more money than is owed in taxes, then they have to return that excess money to the previous owner. But one of the provisions within this law, if I read this correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, was that they will be charged for their back taxes and administrative fees and lien costs and all this else that anyone is if they have a foreclosure, but also the amount includes the amount of taxes we would have been paid had the town not had to assume ownership of the property. So, so in other words, it's not like it is off the tax rolls at this time, but in the end, we're not going to get shafted because that is going to be part of this, whatever can be.
Settlement is
Yeah,
after it's,
well, it's not a settlement, it's actually a sale.
right.
And the sale would be including all of our costs. And, we don't have to, if they request the alternative procedure, it has to be sold to a real estate agent. And the real estate agent might actually get a whole lot more money than the town would, and then they would get some money back. But on the other hand, if they fail to respond to that, or if they don't care, then the town will sell it, and we'll sell it for what we can get. But in the time that the town has owned it, we're not going to get shafted for that, because that money that should have come to the town through those tax payments is included in the amount that we would charge for that property.
Right.
Al,
This thing is, are you gonna go with sealed bid or are you gonna try to sell it real?
It's up,
Okay,
it's
so
up
the,
to
what
the.
the law states that they have 90 days to make a decision on this, but they can request an alternative sale. An alternative sale means then it would go to a real estate agent. We don't send things to the real estate agents, but if the owner feels like they would make out better that way, they get to make that decision.
It's fair, it's a fair deal. You
Yeah.
give them another
Yeah.
chance to bail out of it.
The
This
town's
is-
only gonna make the back taxes, and really, frankly, that's all we're owed anyway. So fair enough.
And legal.
and legal,
Well, yeah, back taxes, legal fees, oh man, do we have some legal fees on this one? And lien recording costs and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, a fair amount of et cetera piles up when you're in a situation.
And
like
then
this.
if they don't wanna go try to sell it that way, then it just becomes.
Then it would be sold, by sealed bid, the way we have in the past sold some properties.
do you need a motion?
If I were you, I would make a motion to order the sale when we are able, when the state, that way I can send them this letter.
I make a motion that we move forward and send him his letter, and when the state has prepared, when we can put this property up for sale, that we do that.
Second,
All in favor? Waiting for you to say something.
And we'll have to change our ordinance soon.
Add it to the list.
which would mean an extra town meeting.
Okay,
But, it takes long enough for the state to move on things, that it might just wait till next year's town meeting. We'll see.
and we have open sessions. Anyone got anything they'd like to share?
I do, I'd like to put this, actually, is something I'd like to see go on our next agenda. It has been questioned about the, repair of the town office contract. And whether that was advertised or whether it went out to bid. And I'd like to see that go onto our next agenda. If we can have a proper discussion.
I have one little thing.
Oh, just 1 second. Al's gonna go first. You can go next. Can you stand up, please? Thank you.
Talk to the.
Talk to the circle.
Can you hear me on Zoom?
Timer.
Yep, we can hear you.
That's good. Okay, so I have a question. When we were doing the beach to do that parking lot, if we could have cut the stumps down and filled it in, I don't think we would have had to remove them, but I had noticed that the stumps from there went up behind the salt shed, and then they were buried there. When we were doing that, and we said we could save money by just burying the roots and whatever, it was said to us that it was illegal, but how could it be legal to, and I'm not trying to ditch somebody, I'm just going back on what they told us. How could they bury them up at the salt shed and they couldn't bury them down on Pine Shore?
I thought it had more to do with, and I'd have to pull the notes up. I thought it had more to do with, that as it deteriorated, that the parking lot would be,
No, because once you cut them off, and I think the code enforcement officer can help with this, if you cut them off at ground level, they don't deteriorate. If you dug them all up and you turn them on their sides and, like we have up there now, and we filled over and we try to pack them down, that's gonna deteriorate and leave all kinds of, different things. And you get metal bacteria from that type of situation too. You understand. So I was just driving up there and I'm like, where'd all the stumps go? And then I saw them up there, but the way you get rid of stumps, and you're doing it up and going up on 140 by the cemetery there, going towards Mexico, going towards Walmart, there's a bunch of stumps on the right. They dug them all up, they put them on top of the ground, and let them sit there for 2 years, and then they bring a chipper in, and they just grind them up to dust. So that's the correct way to get rid of stumps instead of burying them if you don't want to bury them, but you could legally cut them off at the ground level and just leave the roots in there, because the roots are not, when you dig up the ground.
All the time.
Right, but they're not gonna do what a whole root ball does. It's, so anyway, I just wanted to mention that.
Has the code officer looked into this?
I don't know if he has or not.
I had asked him to keep it on.
But just for the sake money, when digging them all up and then moving them up there and burying. I'm just looking out for the money aspect.
Right.
we can ask the code enforcement officer to look at that and,
Yeah, and for future references, we're trying to save the money, we mentioned it numerous times in the budget, that we can do this, but. I don't know what it costs me.
I haven't been up there.
I don't know what it costs.
Tim, you're next. Tim, right?
Yep.
Or no? Susan?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to let you all officially know that I'm stepping down as president of LAA, effective with this upcoming annual meeting, and turning over the leadership to the board, who will determine the officers going forward. So I've been part of the founding of the association since 1987 and been involved ever since, but I'm going to retire coming up this next week. So just FYI.
Thank you for your service all those years.
You're welcome.
Stephen.
Yeah, I'm confused, we asked about, bringing up the contract, I thought I had a contract already, he was, fixed the town hall, I scheduled it and, paid for materials and everything now, I'm just confused that it's not, doesn't have any contract to go through repairs.
On this, I was asked to bring this up because, the questions around it was, what actually was the bid process?
There's several 500 looked at it, and nobody gave a quote for weeks.
Leanne,
I had it on the agenda 4 or 5 times, asked you guys, think about whether or not you want to put it out to bid. When it came down to it, you voted to accept the estimate, you signed the contract.
and
And the
our,
ordinance, everything was legal.
I legit the contract.
the new ordinance states that we don't have to send it out to bid, correct?
Correct.
Few people was asked to give estimates.
Yeah, we had
Five people were asked.
went down the inside to see it and never came back, and, we tried to work with people to give bids, and nobody, I'm just confused because, I put a lot of time and effort and bidding and, it's monies and everything, insurance and, my binder and all that, I'm just confused, that's all.
And another part to this is I just put a random date on here for finishing, but since we have to hook up internet and what was that? Oh, change the locks. If we work out of this hall, it's pushing it ahead, so that finish date is not gonna be correct. We'll have to change it.
August.
Was the end of August.
September 1st, which is not gonna.
Well, that's basically the end of August.
So could we move that ahead a month?
The 2 week, I figured 2 weeks on.
Well, from my understanding, we had several people we asked, quite a few people came to do an estimate. And the only person that submitted one was Steve, who took the initiative to do that.
You say 5 people came?
5 people were asked to come. How many? 4 came?
I asked
Eve,
3. I didn't ask Steve, he took the initiative and submitted one. I asked 3 different people.
We asked Dave
who all came to
Bowen
look and
at a
never
budget
said-
meeting. Yeah,
Guess it's better.
well, we have these meetings to discuss it. It was on the agenda.
4 or 5 times. I have copies.
And we waited and waited for other people to submit. Did we do any follow-up email or calls to these folks?
Yes,
That were going to submit estimates that came to the job and didn't submit one?
it's on the agenda.
Are any of those people here besides Steve?
Was there,
Pardon me? I couldn't hear what you said.
There's a contractor here as well.
is your uncle gonna be here with you? When you do that?
Oh, that is Mark, he was Mason. If I do have anybody in the future, fully all that. But he's consider my uncle. But you said uncle?
Huh? Yeah, I thought you said your uncle.
You already signed the contract.
I'm not sure what
And
else
voted.
we're gonna be able to do because we have signed the contract. We asked several people to come and nobody followed through besides Steve, who took the initiative. And we're not required to put it out to bid. I'm not saying that it would be great to have other people involved. But we've tried to do that and no one followed through. And I think everyone that came to look at it, everyone was honest and sincere and wanted to bid, it just didn't happen. And we do have some requirements, people bid, they have to have insurance, so people have to be covered that are working on the job, and we've already verified that Steve's got that. But I do want to encourage people that have concerns, if they would come to these meetings and discuss it and talk about it during the process, it would make it so much easier than after the fact. Because then there's a lot of hurt feelings and a lot of people saying, well, we should have done it this way, but we had no feedback after follow-up.
Can I say something?
Dave, yep, please.
Why didn't it actually go out to bid and you have some bid specs? You just ask people there to look at it and give you an estimate. I mean, that's not right. $24,000, that's crazy.
The town isn't paying a dime. The selectmen had the option to put it out to bid. They voted not to. I have all the minutes, if anybody wants to look at them. They're all marked.
Do we want to add it to next month's agenda or do we want to move forward? We've already signed a contract.
What can I say? You know, I mean, there've definitely been concerns raised.
It was on the agenda several times. Correct?
I have all the minutes.
I'll show you the side of the contract. You bail on his contract.
At one meeting, I told you, you have to think about whether or not to put it out to bid. Next meeting, you voted not to put it out to bid, just accept the estimate. And there were two other meetings.
And we were waiting, we were hoping to get the other estimates in. I think the reason we were waiting.
He must know why he didn't put a bid in.
Dave,
Yeah,
is there a reason why we didn't get a bid from you? Because we would have loved to have one. An estimate, excuse me.
I did look at it and then my mom passed away and shit happened.
Yeah, I know you got married too. There's a lot going
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
But, you know, asking for an estimate is one thing, but actually putting it out to the bid with some bid specs is another thing. You know, if it was a $4,000 or $5,000 job, yeah, whatever. But $24,000, that is crazy. To not put it in bid.
David, you cut off.
Yeah.
Sorry, we just got you got cut off in your talk. Your last sentence. I think we lost you.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. I think we're gonna need to move forward with this. We've already signed a contract. I think we need to do a better job with any other things that we have coming in. And talk to folks like David, who used to be a selectman too, to understand, sometimes I'm not familiar with construction processes. And I think that we need to better use our outside resources and our folks. I do want to thank Steve. He had a great initiative and came in and did a lot of work to get this ready. And I'm very sorry that there are people that are concerned about it.
I'm not upset because I didn't get the bid by any means. I'm upset because it didn't go out to bid. That's just totally wrong.
Mrs. Point, really, but
The ordinance says the board has the authority to put it out to bid or not. Except.
Yeah. Select board does, but use some common sense. $24,000. That's a lot of money. You look at other towns, would any other town award something of that amount of money for $24,000 without putting it out to bid? Come on.
Okay,
It's, Steve Osmond, I don't know if you realize what the bid wire, but it's the whole exterior wall, 24 feet of block along the road and 4 feet of block and a new door entry and a new window. And it's building a temporary pressure treated 3/4 inch wall, 6 feet back with volley columns support the structure. And it's 196 blocks. Mortar and time, and you know as well as I do with price materials and labor rates and costs and all that, there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of material to be bought, and doors and windows and block, and it's over $12,000 just in material.
I'm not upset that you got it, Steve, by any means. You know, good for you, but I'm upset because it didn't go out to bid.
Right,
That-
when I was there measuring it, there was a gentleman there who was looking at it for you. And, you know, I thought everybody's gonna put a bid on it. I'm sorry, you know, you said, well, you had some mom passed or what, I know stuff happens in life, but I just did what I was asked to do. If I wanted to be involved, I put a price on it, and that was that.
Again, I'm not upset at you by any means. You're in business. I understand that. I'm upset because it didn't go out to bid. Granted, it's not the town money, but what if it was? What would the selectmen have done at that point?
If it had been the town.
if it'd been the town's money versus insurance money. And I know we considered that at the time. We said the insurance company is paying for all of this, and it was one of the considering factors of moving forward.
I agree. You signed a contract. You need to honor that contract. But I felt it was necessary to bring this up.
I'm really glad you did. I think that we can learn from this, and moving forward, we will try to do a better job and bring things to bid that are of that value, to say the least.
Thank you.
Are
Thank you.
okay with extending the contract a little bit, since I'm not ready to come over here?
It's up to you guys.
As soon as we get things in order to move you, I think that's great. If it takes longer than normal, you have an auditor coming, so you gotta finish that first.
I'm afraid for him with that September 1st deadline. Is it okay if he goes past that deadline?
We probably should, that being the case, we should probably set a new deadline. Can we amend the deadline? With initials or whatever. Well, why don't we take care of that in any case?
Okay.
Because it seems to me that we ought to give them at least till mid-September, if not longer.
Once before cold weather.
Just talk on you before that. Next time you do a bid thing, you say, this is done this time. Yeah, if you do.
Stephen, if we made the change the deadline to September 15th or September 20th, what do you think is? I need to initial that. I have another thing for open session. I just wanted to give people an update that the Bear Pond Dam started to get worked on Sunday. The water level is definitely fluctuating every day, down 3 or 4 feet and then up again. But they're doing some great progress over there. And they expect it to be done within the next couple of weeks, and they surpassed their goal of fundraising and gonna be able to keep some money aside to help maintain it and keep it up to date. So they had like an underwater diver down there and tons of new block and some really cool environmental specialists. So they've really done it the way that was recommended and to keep the pond healthy. So just wanted to share an update.
Nice.
Yes, Sibylla.
You know, I have a Bear Pond update too, even though I don't live on the pond, but I have visited the pond a couple of times recently, in particular on a Sunday afternoon. And I have to say, the new boat launch, where people coughed up some dough in order to build this launch, and they'll pay a fee. Residents who own boats pay a fee in the spring to launch their boats. It's working out great. I didn't see any jet skis chasing loons. There were no cigarette boats racing back and forth on the pond. It was actually quiet and beautiful.
Yes.
And this is true from both sides of the pond, because I've been visiting people. It's amazing how well the new boat launch has worked out for the pond. I'm sure you can't help but notice that you're not in a heavy trafficked area anymore.
Absolutely.
I mean, Sunday afternoon used to be insane.
It would normally be a very heavy afternoon, especially the weather was beautiful. Yes, Nancy, would you stand up so we can hear you?
Your voice, everybody.
Nancy Sullivan.
I'm Nancy Sullivan, and I live on Bear Pond. I believe that we still are having trouble with late afternoons, Sunday afternoons, and a lot of young kids out really speeding along in there.
It's not as bad as it was, though.
Not as bad, but
Nowhere near.
you know, it's really, and maybe it's more noticeable because the dam is open and we have more water, you know, more sand and everything. But, and I don't know what you can do, but you get some young kids there. Sundays are not as bad. It's more family out, I think, at that point in time. But it is rough at times out there still, and I believe, I heard anyway, I'm new here. The rest of you are new here. There are no waters on it.
Call up and tell them what is going on, and they'll go there and park the boat.
Address the chair, please.
Yeah.
Check for alcohol or whatever.
Two things. We've had the warden on the pond at least twice since I've been out doing lake work, pulling people over, checking for life jackets. One was really late in the day before they had this huge fireworks display, and it wasn't on the 4th. And they were stopping everybody on the pond. Most of them they were letting go, but to know that they're there when people don't expect it was really great. And Sunday, when Rusty went to Bear Pond Variety, he saw a female game warden, and she said she was headed to the pond.
Good.
So,
She's taking over Josh Smith's job.
oh, terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really good too.
And on another note, Camp Wikila, later in the day, they've had some policies with BPIA to try to keep their boats in a limited area until later in the day. In the past, I don't know what's going on now, but often you'll see multiple Camp Wikila boats out like after 6 o'clock when the water's calmer, taking some of the instructors out, some of the older kids, and
Oh, it's definitely has improved in the years.
yeah, it sure has. Yeah.
It really, really has. And it is a beautiful place to live, I have to admit. It's tiny, but it's a beautiful place.
It is, it is. And the town supported, I think everyone knows the town supported the dam project with $10,000, which was a great investment into its residents. Lee?
It really is a benefit to a small company like this to have that. And it's nice to hear
Yeah,
our leaders and the public know that it's a real diamond. It's not even a block. It's a diamond
it is.
for sure.
Leanne,
Maybe a dumb question, but how do you want to get onto the pond?
I don't think they are sharing how they're getting onto the pond. I believe that all they need to do is coordinate with Camp Berea. And they can bring their boat on the lake.
For free?
Mhm.
Probably.
Seymour is a good service for the ATVs, for boating.
Yeah, they've been around the pond a lot. They've been stopping ATVs on the Turner end. I've noticed quite a bit down by the dam. So. All right, new business. Curbside trash dumpsters, Lee.
Well, I had a guest, oh, it was just on Wednesday this week. Showed up in the yard and he was fairly heated. He's a resident in my neighborhood. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 households, 5 households in the neighborhood, all of which are authorized to use the dumpster. On top of that, we have at least one, Claire and oh my God, I can't think of his name. Then Riley up on the end of Darrington Road also use that dumpster, come all the way down because since they're not there full time, they can't just leave their trash out on a Sunday night because it would be scattered. So they've been authorized to use that dumpster. But it has been really overfilled lately. And my neighbor showed up the other day to say, what the hell's going on with this dumpster? Because it is Wednesday and it's already full. This, I know I sent you both pictures of what it looked like. Somebody dumped off a refrigerator. Somebody else has come and dumped it, tipped it at least over onto its door so that it, because, you know, among the violations there is the fact that the door wasn't removed, which you know, you're supposed to remove doors from refrigerators and freezers, so some child doesn't come along and get shut inside it. Because that that was a former resident, they've moved now. But, and I mentioned this to the select board too, what are we gonna do about this? And, you know, what I heard was crickets, basically. So the tires are sitting there and they will continue to sit there until, well, until something, and I don't know what exactly. In any case, this dumpster's got, you know, we've got some real problems. And one of the, I mean, one thought is, first of all, what are we going to do with that refrigerator? It's the town's now because somebody dumped it off. Just like when somebody drops a cat at your house or a whole herd of them, then suddenly it's your problem, right? Well, it's the town's problem to get rid of that refrigerator. And I'm here to tell you, if we leave it there, they bleed. Honest to God, another refrigerator is going to be dumped off next to it, or somebody's washing machine, or a broken dryer, and other white goods. I mean, that stuff is going to start to pile up. I don't mean maybe. So it's not just a matter of the town, you know, putting a sticker on it, because the fact of the matter is, it's not going to go away till next June, unless, of course, we make some kind of special provision for getting rid of that refrigerator. And it is not the first time people have dropped off refrigerators there. I know, Susan, you suggested that, oh, well, we should totally pull that dumpster and have people take their trash out to the end of the road. But the truth be known, trash at the end of the road would end up scattered everywhere, and nobody takes responsibility for their trash, because people don't put trash out in bags. You can tell them to put a can out there, but that's probably not going to happen. So the bags are going to get scattered and nobody's going to take responsibility for it. At least down by the bridge, things are clean. But so in any case, you could consider pulling it, but I think that is a well-known trash site. The fact of the matter is, it's very close to the town of Sumner. I think a lot of trash comes from out of town. And I'm not sure what to suggest about this. One thought is cameras The dumpster at your place still has the sign from the Berry Road that says, $100 fine for illegal dumping. There's nothing. There's no signs, there's nothing.
Is there a person at the beginning of your road? I don't know how, I know you said you had 5 families.
No,
Is there a person
There-
down there that we could put the
there's
dumpster
not.
at so it's more, better monitored?
no. No, it's about, it's close to a mile to the nearest resident from the end of the road. And I'll tell you right now, that road is not just maybe rough at this point.
Because we could pay to move the refrigerator and the tires. But what's gonna stop someone from just dumping that next week next to the dumpster again?
Nothing. That's the thing. Rural dumpsters are a real problem.
Is it,
And
and is
that-
that the only one we have? I'm sorry, I don't know.
The only rural dumpster
In,
of year round.
right, that's
I
your,
mean, you get other ones, but the one that is on Garden Drive is not in anybody's yard, but it's kind of monitored by the fact that there are people around.
and no, it's not that easy.
I know.
It's clean because I stop every week because I've made a commitment to my
Oh,
neighbor that I would do that.
I've picked up around
I have-
dumpsters so many times.
I've,
But this
I,
has been- this
I
has been
paid
a
for the
problem.
tire that was dropped there.
Basically been a problem all along.
I mean,
A
if I
couple
put
of
my
game cameras might work, and you'd have to have 2, because somebody be going up there and spray painting it with black paint or shooting it or something like that. You'd have to have another game camera focused on the game camera, so you can catch the person actually trashing the other game camera. But, well, no, seriously, but, that would be a start, a sign that says, neighborhood residents only, or something.
What about a combination lock or a key lock to the people that can use it? And
That has been suggested, and it might work, although, frankly, I sent you a picture of what it looked like this time, and there's bags and bags and bags and loads of random stuff just piled up outside the dumpster.
again,
Is it Jones Drive? What's the last road off Berry Road going towards Mahoney?
Jones,
Is it Jones? Because I went by this morning on my way to Norman's, and there's like 10 trash cans out at the end of the road. People just
Yeah.
bring their trash can out that morning. No head covers.
yeah.
so what do you, assuming the select board decided that that's what the Lavender Pond Road neighborhood has to do. I mean, the folks could probably get with the program, and what's gonna happen with that site that we've been using for a dumpster all this time? I think it's just gonna pile up with stuff.
We need to clean it. I think it's the town's responsibility to clean the stuff that's there.
But it's not gonna, but if we clean up all that stuff, it's not gonna stay clean. These people are used to taking stuff and dropping it off there. And I'm here to tell you, they're probably gonna keep doing it. Tanya Noyce just moved to that neighborhood from Canton. And she wrote to me and said that, they actually witnessed a late model black pickup. Late model, older model, a black Chevy pickup, dropping off that fridge. And when I came by and I looked at it, I picked up what I thought was a piece of glass, but it was actually a sheet of ice out of the freezer. So A, it worked still, and B, it hadn't been there that long.
Well, bring it over here. We need one.
Go get it, but I don't think it works in,
It's Steve's first.
I don't think it's the practical.
A couple of recommendations on people that have gone through those towns and, one, as a council, I don't mind carrying trash there to find out information inside.
I have done this myself and found that lots of people from away have
Well,
used it.
that's when you make the phone call to the police, because it's illegal dumping. I've had a dumpster 40 yard in Canton, these stone public places. And I used to do trash for the banks, put this up there, people are throwing their trash in my dumpster.
Oh, hell
Got
yeah.
it out and went to their house, knocked on their door. Straight it out. Another thing, the board area that's open around a dumpster, I know exactly where she talked about, and both cemetery.
It's bad.
There's a big area, the board area that's open around a dumpster, the board area you're gonna throw, that dumpster was off to the side. And there was nowhere around it to throw anything, you're liable to get less, maybe not extra next.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Right, now,
But you could fill that out. So, you know, it's like right out of the meter, right out of the room. I've picked up like 5 or 6 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood out of that. And I just-
All kinds of useful stuff, people put useful stuff there too, there's no question about it. But,
You gotta make the area, like Steve said, smaller. So they either gotta put it on the road or put it in the dumpster.
What about a fence around it, make any difference?
you know, one of the thoughts I have, and again, it's not, I'm not gonna be the one who does it, but, Pine Shores has a recycle building right next to their dumpsters. And if we had a recycle building could maybe take up nearly that much space and be a place that people could actually start recycling, because one of our problems is we have neighbors who buy, you know, every scrap of dog food from Chewy and they get these giant boxes, and they fill it full of junk and they throw it in there, or they throw it in empty without recycling it, and it takes up the whole dumpster. So, I mean, you know, it's like, it's an education thing, but, and that's, so my thinking is that's why we want to have a solid waste and recycling committee to help let people know, actually, we don't do that, folks. But, you know, unless somebody's willing to, you know, to police it, and frankly, I've spent an awful lot of time looking at what folks have been throwing in that dumpster, and it does get old.
Who owns the land that the dumpsters in? I mean, to build something, you probably have to get permission.
I'm not sure about that. You know, but how we find out about this is to look at the commitment book, generally speaking. I think it may be the heirs and assigns of Honey Gammon. Because I understand that Honey Gammon did finally pass away. After living a good long life.
The daughter probably owns it now.
It's gone. I think it was,
Son.
well, it was the
Son.
son I had to write to when I wanted permission to take, after they had a logging operation, I wanted permission to go and hook up.
Okay, my
leftover
question
firewood. So it's his
is
son- her son.
out there. Adams. They have a, if the trash truck should go out to these places. Adams has a turnaround that they could turn around.
You're talking about the Hayford place, what was most recently known as the Hayford place, the Tanya Noyes place. We're not talking because Jack Adams and Tamara McNeil live up the road from there, but that ain't quite. Well,
Moses.
what do you think about that road from the big house up, you know? I'm gonna send no trash truck up there.
That's been it's washed out, and I just know there's heated, I think, job on the cemetery. But yeah, no, it's not, and then basically, if it wasn't all gravel, it wouldn't even be there. When David went in and cut the bank there, and pulled some of it out, all the dirt washed out, it was just.
Going up to that house
Pardon?
on the Moses Young Road.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all gravel.
up past what you're calling Adams Place.
So-
Not past there, at their house.
Turn around.
It's
Yes,
just past Adams.
that's where the postal service.
No,
goes.
not going to the cemetery.
That's where
just
postal service.
at the house.
Right, just before
The big place.
Right.
Yeah.
It must be a trash truck can turn around there.
It could turn around and-
I think it could most of
There's
the.
a camper in it, so there's 2 driveways.
Yeah, right. I think a trash truck could turn
Oh, yeah.
around there.
Could we approach them about possibly hosting the trash?
You could, the new
I'm
folks,
just
new
thinking,
folks
I'm-
just bought
And
some.
Steve could.
I'm
could
just thinking,
monitor it.
why couldn't they be like the rest of the town?
You get pickup.
Right, I mean, the trash truck can turn around up there. And a trash truck can turn around by your place. And the rest of them
In
put their
theory-
garbage out
in
beside the
theory-
road.
In theory. I think they got the recycled trailer is a little bit bigger of a problem. Turning around.
That it was. With a couple of loads of sand or something, get the dumpster out or fill it in, because when the dumpster's out there, they'll have more room.
I think you'd need to get permission more for dumping sand on the property than you would for building a recycle shop.
Yeah, or you just put a guardrail, temporary guardrail.
We were having issues at several of the Big Apple stores, and so we fenced it in. We have a lock, and the dumpster company has a key to that lock.
Right.
And all the people that use it, which are like our tenants and them,
I
have a
still-
key to that lock.
I still think they use it.
Oh, hell yeah.
We have to come up with some sort of solution, though, if we're gonna change
I think the
behaviors.
smooth county got a good solution, it's having to go pick up the garbage and get rid of the dumpster, we have to guardrail there with some kind of.
Be just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
If it don't work out, then I don't know. Go back to the dumpster.
Well, I can tell you that the postal service refused service to people in my neck of the woods. All of last winter.
So how's that going?
Oh, FedEx and UPS and the oil trucks and the gas trucks. And all of those can get up there just fine, and so can, for that matter, the school bus, which carries our most precious cargo of all, gets up there just fine. And the thing of it is, for all of these other ones, if
You
there's a
start.
day that the roads are too bad, you know, they call off school, or they'll schedule for another day. But the postal service, yeah, they bought these crazy little lightweight vans, and now they
Right.
spin out all over the place, I guess, from what I've heard.
There's folks everywhere, if you watch Facebook, that are complaining that they don't get their regular mail delivery. It's kind of bad. Ken,
Yeah, I think Kathy's idea is the most logical. It's just like everyone else, those trash truck and pick it up if they do it. The road's pathable to everyone's door. I question, I guess, why was the dumpster put there initially?
Because
The road wasn't in good
but-
shape, instead of
no, because it was too much, you know, because it's a very scattered neighborhood, and they didn't want to drive all the way up there. And, you know, you couldn't get to everybody's house, I mean, some.
I'd
people-
rather, to
Up-
me, I'd
up.
rather have put my trash out at the end of the driveway than I would put it in your car and transport it all the way down there to where the dumpster is.
we have,
You can always
Yep.
ditch in front of where it is now. If
So they
ditch
can't
it,
get
so
there, get to it.
It's just gonna make it harder to get the stuff that they will manage to throw there, you know. I
well, they're
think.
gonna throw it there regardless, from the way I understand it. How you stop it? Have the trash picked up at the end of the residence driveway like they do everywhere else.
I have animals that get into mine when I put it out, and it's
That's
either
fine. It's
the
fine.
lid doesn't on good, or that coon or bear, whatever's getting into
I
it,
try
is
to
smarter than I
find
am.
it. Sometimes I chase the truck of rosemary so the crows don't get in. So,
There are crows and raccoons and people's dogs and wild dogs, and,
coyote,
anything and everything.
This eliminates.
If
that
people
issue.
put stinky stuff in their trash, it's bound to happen.
Mhm.
So what are the steps to, do we need to talk to your neighborhood people? And
I think that a letter would
And
have to
then-
go out
and,
to the people who lived in that neck of the woods. I think that, you know, I mean, I say, so I'm not clear this is a great solution, but it'd be a change anyway. I think that you're gonna end up having to put the dumpster back when you get to the winter time anyway.
Yeah.
Same as it is on Garden Drive.
Talk to Archie.
But meanwhile, in order to prevent the people from dumping there, you dug a ditch and you put up a chain link fence. So how you put the dumpster back, I'm not just sure.
we could put up a sign too that says no dumping, but
I
know.
Well, I dare say. I actually think that, you know, the camera's idea is probably not entirely stupid. It would have to be cameras without little lights on it, so that it's obvious to everybody where they are, so they can shoot them out, because sure enough, they will.
oh yeah,
I put trail cameras up in the tree with a ladder.
nice.
Yeah, that's why they shoot them.
They got it. I mean, I never got one shot, but I have to, you know, usually it's funny because trail cameras, you have them eye level, people see them. If you have them down low or up high, people don't walk around with them.
Yeah, sure, I know what you're saying.
They look pretty suspicious when they do.
Um,
All right, so what do we want to do for next steps?
So have Archie come pick up the trash that's there now.
the fridge and all this other stuff, I mean, it's gonna take special, you know, they're gonna have to make a special trip for it.
And if we're gonna make a special trip for it, we've got some other sites that still have things that weren't
Oh,
picked
there's
up.
piles of wood.
And so
At random spots all over town.
I spoke to, I think her name was Jessica at Archie's. I haven't heard back from Archie yet, about the
Alan-
piles that they
Alan is
missed.
his name.
Alan, excuse me.
Archibald is the last name.
And so she had mentioned that we would definitely have to have the address of the location and an idea of how much they had to pick up, so they know what they're sending. for a vehicle, and it would be a special trip, because I assumed that you'd be picking up that stuff too.
We've put off the topic enough times, but there's certainly people who are quite.
Yeah,
you
you
know,
have,
There's one over by Thompson Cemetery.
Green Acres.
Oh, yeah.
Putnam Road,
Oh, yeah,
it's
we
been
got
there all through cleanup. They
Yeah.
never got picked up. The toilet and the hose is the wood, and it's not.
And they're
like-
not big pieces, yeah, I went and saw that. Leanne,
Yeah. And then there's Kathy Martin's place on Berry Road. A little bit of stuff there. There's some stuff way the heck up on Farron Hill Road.
you have just,
so we could compile a list and
So there's tires, there's a refrigerator, there's like 3 car seats and just, a bunch of other random stuff. There was like a fold-out sleeper sofa. I actually stuffed the mattress into the dumpster before they hauled it one week so that it wouldn't sit there till next year. Because we don't pay more for that tipping of stuff that goes in the dumpster than we do for the stuff that just sits out in the plastic bag, or than we do for our bulk pickup. I know what I'm saying.
I think we could, provide a little customer service, clean up this yard. And then next year, even though the bulky waste committee did a fantastic job, if we can reiterate with Alan's team of people on what, and our own people on what size and how much they can put out. Because Archie's is going up in price, and we really need to be looking at how much bulky waste we're gonna pick up. People need to do something besides save it. So,
What was Jack Adams so upset the other day, and he was just saying, why can't we negotiate to go in with Buckfield to have a damn transfer station we could bring our stuff to? And, I tried to explain to him some of the big picture reasons why we've never been able to do that. It has to do with their equity, because they've, it's the towns of Sumner and Buckfield, we decided back, well, long before I was paying attention, back in the Joan Jasper years, that we would, during that administration, that we would not go in with them. We'd have our own dump way out on Swan Pond. Of course, the idea was we'd have it burning down, because they thought that would be a far more efficient way. But that was right about the time that the DEP said, yeah, no more. And so in any case, we didn't go in with them, and they have invested heavily in equity with MWAC, which is the waste facility in Auburn where they have their trash haul. So it's a quasi municipal corporation, and they're members because they have put in the equity. So we'd have to buy into that equity if we were going to go that way, and we would also have to buy into the equity of their transfer station, which may look like it's just a little transfer station, but I bet they've got quite a passel of money in it. They repaved it not that long ago. They've got a lot of money in it, and those towns would need to be repaid for our share of equity should we decide to go that way. It would be a very expensive first step to get to that point, if they would even discuss it with us.
plus you'd have to hire a crew to run it.
We wouldn't, because there would be another, because they already have a crew hired, but of
or
course,
an
we'd
extra
have to-
person on the days or whatever,
we would have to pay,
a labor
but
cost.
basically, we would have to become members of that shared transfer station, and they already have employees.
Hartford bringing it on Saturdays and Wednesdays. You would have to have. it open
Tuesdays.
200 days, because
Not necessarily, if we could become members, and then by no certain,
cannot put that on those guys. They throw up dumpsters there where they don't even have room. They're sliding dumpsters in there that they got in the back to take care of just their own stuff. You're not putting art in there on the 2 days that you haven't been. I've been there, I know Bill, I've been there many times.
you've been there.
But I think
Yeah.
there's lots of options we can look into.
4 days a week.
Yeah.
But you have to have your own crew, or that crew, and the crew there, their Phil's pretty old. The Bill, he push the button. Now you got one guy running around doing the outside stuff.
Pardon me.
And getting helpers in that place is like totally impossible, so. You gotta think about hiring, maybe Kathy don't wanna do it, me going on, I'm gonna work on it. There's not a lot of people that wanna work.
Right, but we have to come up with some sort of solution. Even Archie's right. Yeah, I think there's many surrounding towns we can look at.
Right.
At least get the information and options, right?
I always got a
Pricing.
problem between Hartford and Brookfield was the Hatfield with the coins. You know, that's,
You know, the Hatfield and McCoy's thing was, the Hatfield and the McCoy's was between East and West Butterfield, which would have been Sumner and Hartford. And that is very, very old stuff indeed.
So I'm gonna say, let's table this. We're gonna talk to people on your road
But it might be getting better with that.
and Archie's in the meantime about
What's on that? Oh, they've got some stuff to go through right now.
going, about, driving down your road and getting rid of that dumpster and seeing if they even, I'll talk to Alan and see if they're even willing to go down that road.
Right.
So, one step at a time, but let's work on solutions and getting that stuff picked up and the other stuff picked up. Great. Next,
Just address the chair.
yes,
Is there a group of Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts or something? I can remember an awful lot of time being spent in that type of, as Girl Scouts. And doing things, there used to be paper drive, you got money for it.
Yeah.
and stuff.
cans, bottles, yep.
But I'm wondering if they have different groups that they have to do, and most senior classes.
I haven't heard of any.
High school, seniors, have to do a couple of days of.
Volunteer work, yeah.
It would be worth a talk with a couple of those things that, you're looking for, that high school kids can go and do things.
And do what?
Pick up some of the places around, like they would, have like spring cleaning day around the things.
Years ago, Oxford County Jail used to bring their inmates out and clean our roadside once a year. They'd walk them down the roads and a good day picking up trash.
And what,
was-
these are really great ideas. Thinking outside the box, that's how we're gonna come up with solutions.
They have to do in scouting, both male and female have to do certain community.
Yeah, we actually have worked with them.
Start to get badges and all. I've been there, I watched my two brothers and the boy, and I did it as a Girl Scout. And, we, call me crazy, but I think that why not work with your own community?
Fair enough.
It's a great idea.
Um,
All right, we're gonna move forward and go to hall use approval, nonprofit for August 12th.
It's Rose Osborne's, can't remember the name of her group, Spirit of Light. They've used the hall many times, they'd like to use it on that day.
Yeah, what's the purpose? So they just have
Spiritualist
that,
church.
like a service?
It's the pinpoint of light, I believe is the name of it, and it's a spiritualist church. Table lifters. Whatever, I don't know
They
exactly
use
what they
it
do
for
because I'm.
responsibly?
They purchased these comfy chairs for us.
They normally give us a donation after the.
Yes.
Awesome.
I mean, they've been great.
I use it.
I vote we approve their use of the hall.
I second it.
All in
On top of
favor?
that, if you want fun time, you can come listen to their.
Do you want to charge it for require insurance?
They're providing, is it
Have
open
we
to the
ever,
public?
have we ever required them insurance in the past?
Yeah,
Is it open to the public?
Oh, absolutely.
can you include that in your motion?
I move that we allow the Pinpoint of Light Spiritualist Church to use the hall without the encumbrance of having to provide insurance.
Or a fee?
Or without fee, yeah.
Second it.
They have always paid us back more than the fees would be.
All in favor? Okay, good. Appointments and resignations, and you have here Waste Committee.
I have an open seat.
There's an open seat on the Waste Committee.
I would like to nominate Jack Adams. For a seat on the solid waste.
Have you already talked to him?
He's the one who showed up in my door, let's off about the dumpster. He's probably not gonna like this plan either, so. I think he might be just the man for the job, he had a lot to say about the subject, so.
Will you approach him and ask him?
I say, why don't we approach him by letting him know that he's been appointed? And then we can.
You mean nominated?
Nominated, yeah, well, yeah, he's been nominated, and once he has a second, then he can be appointed, and we can find out he was appointed, and he can say no if he doesn't like it.
No, we want to ask him first.
You know. I don't know, I talked to him for about an hour the other day, yeah, on Wednesday,
Awesome.
about trash, I think he cares. Good, and he may very well say no, but. Well, there we go.
So we'd like to nominate Jack Adams. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
On top of that, he said he was showing up tonight to talk about our neighborhood situation, and he didn't, so all the more reason to appoint him.
Excellent. Okay. And upcoming training. I saw that there is one in our packet down in Portland.
So when did we become members of Baird Jensen, is it?
Jetson and Bird.
Yeah, when did we become part of their, I see the correspondence or training, municipal client seminar, but we're not one of the municipal clients, are we, or is this?
It's correspondence.
Oh. Well, I do see it says training here.
It doesn't say any cost or anything for the session.
No, but I would like to presume that this is for people who
Free.
actually. Yeah, but don't you suppose this is for towns that actually use Jensen Baird attorneys at law? Not Brandon Isaacson? Who we talked to earlier tonight? I mean, I don't think that's really intended for us. I mean, I suppose if you wanted to go, you could always call and say, well, you know, we don't use your service, but can we show up for free to your?
It looks like they're providing some great information.
Good. Well, it's great information, I'm sure, and if you wanted to attend, then maybe you could get in touch with them. I mean, there's ways to register online, or you can contact this person, Amanda St. Pierre, and see what they say, but I'd be kind of surprised if they were holding this seminar for persons other than the towns that actually contract with or use their legal services.
They emailed it to the town hard.
Okay.
It could be goodwill to bring their current clients and other towns. It sounds like a good resource. But I'll contact them and find out. How's that?
Great.
Some of these you don't have in your packet. Do you have the RFPs? I think you mentioned it.
I do.
Oh,
I do.
Some of those you don't.
The what in the packet?
Archie sent us an fee increase. Is that in your packet? Yeah, she's got it too.
$98 a ton. Dang. That MWAC is starting to look better all the time.
What is our current rate?
It was 85.
85. It's going to 98 due to huge increases on their side. From
I mean,
them disposing
we
of
are
it.
just piling this stuff up in a mountain of trash, and it's bound to get to a point where they can only pile the mountain so high.
Like Mount Trashmore outside of Bangor.
I tell you what, the one in Norwalk is significant too.
You could get it to go out of the post.
That's MWAC, that's an Auburn. Believe it's the main waste recovery.
They have people coming out and getting garbage. They have service like that?
What?
Do they have trucks?
Oh.
And,
No, It's just not like that at all. Actually, MWAC is a waste facility that towns,
Hmm.
which are members of MWAC, can take their trash to. As I was saying earlier, one of the big issues with should we be allowed to take our trash to the Buckfield transfer station is that we are not members of MWAC because we decided, we being, people, long before you even moved to this town, decided that we would have a burning dump out on Swan Pond Road. And we wouldn't go in with those towns when actually MWAC was being built. And so the towns that decided to go in that direction actually invested in the equity in that we should have trash facility. Well, hell, we should have, but we didn't. We've been talking trash ever since.
Yes. Okay,
So it's not like that. They don't go and pick up trash with you. They are the disposal option for towns that chose to invest in the company back into this country.
we got some other correspondence, also came here. We actually sent a letter of support over to AvCog. They're looking at doing some training for towns for the new state laws so that we can update our ordinances and help us with that verbiage. And so they asked us to write a letter of support and gave us the letter, just to put our names on it. It was pretty easy. Yeah. We also got a thank you letter from Androscoggin Home Care and Hospice. And a newsletter from Oxford County Soil and Water, which specifically talks about Education Day for the Oxford Fair that's coming up, which is always like the 5th through the 11th or something like that. So they do a big Education Day, animal soil conservation, 4-H is very much involved. And they're looking for volunteers or donations if anyone's interested. It is a school day. Yeah. Education Day.
We're having here from Knoxville.
Awesome.
We have one, I got it sold. Some maintain the water district, possibly talk up there, right?
So we can come see you and find out what's buzzing.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Let's see, who else we get information from? Another thank you letter from the Cancer Resource Center of Western Maine. We gave them money, $100. And then what is Treetop Productions?
For the beach,
Oh, picnic tables for the beach.
cement ones.
Cement ones that people cannot move.
A burn.
What a great, or burn, or float across the lake. So you want us to review that now, or
No, it's just.
this is a great opportunity for us to keep picnic tables, right, Steve? Oh, they won't be able to move them, so we'll look at that. Central Maine Power. They just sent a little
Please drop that off.
understanding your monthly electric bill. And this is not a bill, that would be Medicare. This is not a bill. So, but it just talks about what is demand, what is supply, who's doing what. I did hear the other day that half their time is spent replacing poles that people are hitting. That's crazy, the amount of poles they're putting back in. So that's all the correspondence. And I'm going to say we have a meeting is adjourned. How's that? Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for everything you do.
Yeah.